In a backstory to a backstory, the young Henry discovers his innate psychic powers and also becomes fascinated by spiders. Noticing that his powers increase with each life he takes, he murders his mom and sister while giving his dad nightmarish hallucinations. After the murders, Henry falls into a coma, and ultimately his dad is blamed and put into a high-security insane asylum. Henry is then placed into the care of Dr. Martin Brenner, who implants a control chip in his neck. Brenner tries to replicate Henry's powers by breeding a number of psychic children and training them in the basement of the Hawkins lab. Henry plays along, but secretly wants to break free to use his powers to his heart's content. He therefore manipulates Eleven into breaking his control chip. And shortly after, Henry goes on a murder spree inside the lab.
Multi-kill.
But when Eleven ultimately refuses to help Henry create a new world order, the two battle it out. In this psychic clash, Eleven unintentionally sends Henry into the Shadow Realm, that is the Upside Down. In this desolate parallel dimension, Henry encounters a raw form of his swarm intelligence, a formless hive mind that he bends to his will, while reshaping the Upside Down into his own domain. In the process, Henry becomes Vecna, Lord of the Mind Flayer and various Demogorgons. After battling Henry, Eleven falls into a coma, forgetting everything that happened.
How very convenient.
Brenner, however, witnesses what Eleven can do and continues to train her in the psychic arts. Many years later, Eleven inadvertently opens a portal to a parallel dimension. The now awakened Vecna wants to kill teenagers to increase his power level and create a massive portal to our regular dimension. But before he kills, he gives his victims nightmarish visions, often for days, before he puts their spirit bodies into his dimension. Many months after the explosive events at Starkwood Mall, the gang has been split up. Joyce, Will, Jonathan and Eleven are in sunny California, while the others remain in Hawkins. And Hopper survives the explosion of the Soviet dimension gun. He now is captured and interrogated by Soviets after teleporting from Hawkins to Russia. There he is in a prison complex doing hard labor and meets Dimitri, a guard who can in fact be bribed.
No way!
The guard then hires the mad bootlegger Yuri to smuggle both the prisoner and exchange the ransom. Through Yuri, Joyce then receives the ransom requests as a particular creepy package. Recruiting the Russified Murray, she feigns a business trip, leaving her children unattended, and makes off for Alaska to rescue Hopper.
Welcome to Alaska!
Oh god! This is spring?
Meanwhile, the previously psychic Eleven tries to readjust to society, attending a high school in California. Having spent over a decade in a secret lab, Eleven naturally lacks some social skills and ends up as a high school loser. When Mike visits her, Eleven has a little Carrie moment wherein her bully torments her in public, to which she reacts rather violently.
Angela!
Fatality.
The bully now turns into a victim and Eleven is promptly arrested. Having no psychic powers, she is forced to just go along. But on her way to a detention facility, her convoy is intercepted by the Feds, represented by Dr. Owens. Owens wants to train Eleven to regain her psychic powers, as he believes her to be the only weapon against the supernatural. The Army's Central Command, however, has a very different opinion. According to Colonel Jack, Eleven is a weapon of mass destruction and must hence be eliminated. Therefore, Owen transports Eleven to a secret facility where she can regain her powers. The method of choice is letting her relive her time in the Hawkins lab, leading to a lot of exposition, Martin Brenner's reappearance, and eventually her psychic abilities. Owens actually leaves an armed security detail with the buyers. Wanting to escape to help Eleven, they fake order a pizza delivery so Jonathan's stoner friend Argyle can pick them up. But when the US Army comes knocking, presuming Eleven to be with them, the crew can escape, mainly due to this chubby badass. Out of options and stranded in the middle of nowhere, the Kelly crew visits Dustin's long-distance girlfriend Susie. Susie apparently lives in a Mormon nut house and can hack into government servers, retrieving the location of the super-secret black site where Eleven is held. Right as Eleven regains her powers, the US Army comes storming in, starting a brutal firefight in the facility. Eleven then flees the carnage and downs a helicopter, but Brenner is killed in the process.
How very sad.
Right as she's stranded, the Kelly crew shows up, a reunion follows, and they start their 2,000-mile journey back to Hawkins. Back in Hawkins, Max is traumatized by Billy's passing the previous season. Lucas joins the local basketball team and becomes a jock, while Dustin and Mike stay full-on nerds. The two join the Hellfire D&D club, led by charming metalhead Eddie Mason. When random cheerleader Chrissy experiences Vecna's hallucinations, she contacts Eddie for some drugs to calm her down and find some sleep. However, when she's at Eddie's home, her mind enters the Upside Down, where she is killed by Vecna. Eddie now has a murdered teen in his home, as well as a budding portal into the Upside Down, so he goes into hiding in an abandoned boathouse. As Chrissy was a girlfriend of head jock Jason, the entire basketball team goes on a manhunt for Eddie and declares pen and paper roleplay as satanic.
Dungeons and Dragons obsessed.
Satan.
Freak.
Knowing him to be innocent, Dustin recruits young adults Robin and Steve to locate Eddie. They also want to find the real killer, which they presume is supernatural.
Why do ghosts and monsters and stuff turn up wherever we go?
When they find Eddie, they naturally have to fill him in and explain the whole issue with the parallel dimension and the monsters. Meanwhile, Nancy plays an investigative journalist and snoops around the crime scene, together with her fellow student reporter Fred. Fred then becomes the second victim to Vecna, promptly disappearing after he strays from this scene. Nancy eventually teams up with Robin and the two investigate previous paranormal activities. In the library.
Library's a great place to hide stuff.
They find out about Victor Creel, father to Henry and insane asylum staple. In a side quest, they manage to visit him in the asylum and piece together some backstory involving Henry. But also Max is tormented by Vecna's visions and she realizes that she's a dead girl walking. And after saying goodbye to her close ones, she is dragged into Vecna's realm.
Uh-oh. It's not good.
But with the power of friendship and Kate Bush, Max manages to escape Vecna's grip. Max now tells the gang that she saw Henry's manor in the Upside Down, leading to a thorough investigation of this haunted house. Meanwhile, the lynch mob, after some asking about, finds Eddie in the boathouse. Eddie hides in a rowboat on the lake, but the jocks find him anyway. Conveniently, one of the jocks becomes Vecna's third victim right here and right now. Eddie freaks out, while the jocks now believe more than ever that this is the work of the devil and his worshippers.
These murders are ritualistic sacrifices, and Eddie Munson, he's the leader of one of these cults.
Since Vecna opened a portal to snatch his victim, the crew locates it at the bottom of the lake and decides to take a swim.
Somebody's gotta go down there and check this thing out.
Okay, but why though?
Diving into the Upside Down, they fight a swarm of monster bats, and after being lost for some time, contact Dustin via the old light phone.
Holy shit!
Soon, they find the portal inside Eddie's house and make it back to our regular dimension. Hopper meanwhile plans his escape with the help of corrupt guard Dimitri and already makes it into a safe house. Smuggler Yuri, however, not only kidnaps Joyce and Murray when presented with the ransom money, but also betrays Dimitri and tells the Soviets where to find Hopper.
What a dick move.
Hopper and Dimitri are then placed into a special prison program where inmates face Demogorgons in unwinnable arena-style fights. This prison actually hosts a Demogorgon research program, and the prisoners are merely there to placate the demon's urge for carnage.
This food isn't to make us strong, it's to make us plump. So we're full of all the nutrients and protein that a growing monster might need.
Knowing its weakness to flames, Hopper reconciles with Dimitri and the two manage to bring a torch into the arena. When Yuri kidnaps the Americans, Murray, in a fit of overconfidence, topples him, and after a short plane crash, the two manage to reverse the situation.
Yuri will help you for a right price.
Now heading straight to the Demon Black side, Murray impersonates the smuggler Yuri in his best Russian. Murray even takes the Soviet commander hostage and stages a coup, forcing the staff to release the prisoners. Right in time for Hopper's arena fight.
Close it, Joyce.
Close it!
While the Demogorgon rampages, the Americans discover the research ring and escape shortly after. Apparently, Yuri has a broken down helicopter the gang wants to use for their escape. But after some pondering, they decide to put the prison and its monsters to the torch and return to the complex with a homemade flamethrower. Everything now converges in Hawkins, where the teens figure out that Vecna is building a 4-gate system to tear open a giant rift between dimensions. The gang then forms a plan. Max will bait Vecna into possessing her again, while the others sneak into the Upside Down to kill his physical body.
That sounds good to me.
Seeing that they won't be able to reach Hawkins in time for the showdown, the Kelly crew crashes a pizza parlor and creates a makeshift floating tank so Eleven can walk the Shadow Realm to join the finale. When Vecna takes a bait in form of sulking Max, she is trapped in his visions, while the combat team sneaks into the Upside Down. Eddie then plays a metal concert on his roof to lure out the Demobats, while Steve, Robin and Nancy enter Henry's house. Just as Vecna is about to reap Max's soul, Eleven appears in the spirit plane from her long-distance call.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Here, Eleven battles Henry once again, while Robin throws a molly right into Vecna's face in the Upside Down. It's super effective. And although Nancy puts a few more slugs into him for good measure, the wounded Henry can escape. For no reason at all, Eddie decides to stay and lure out the bats even longer, which does not end particularly well for him.
I think he is dead.
Despite their efforts, Henry's gates are functional and start ripping Hawkins apart in two cataclysmic rifts. Publicly, the event is communicated as an earthquake, leaving Hawkins in ruins, with many leaving this haunted city for good. A few days after the battle with Henry, the Kelly crew arrives in Hawkins. Max is left comatose and the adults make their return from Siberia. But Will still feels the presence of the Mind Flayer / Henry in his neck, as the Upside Down spills over into the real world via a massive portal. As this is a new channel, I would immensely appreciate your upvote and subscription. In any case, thanks for watching and see you next time.